3 Count Thursday is sponsored by Arena Eats. Log on to the website arenaeats.app, that's arenaeats.app, for the ultimate fan experience. At your favorite sports venue, Arena Eats mobile app, pre-order, express pickup, and in-seat delivery. How do you place your order? So before we go to a break, guys, yesterday was National Cheesesteak Day, and I listened to the Preston and Steve show in WMMR out of Philly, and they got onto a debate on their show because one of the guys on the show said that, you know, like for a cheesesteak, you know, the one person argued that it has to be the steak, the cheese, the onions on the long roll, whereas somebody else on the show argued that it is the ingredients that make up it being a cheesesteak. It doesn't necessarily need the vessel of the long roll. Now, he said, I agreed with this, that the best form is on the long roll, but it is more the ingredients that make it up, not the vessel itself. So I thought I'd bring this topic to the table. We always end up talking about food at some point, so I figured we might as well hit this one. If cheesesteak ingredients are not on a long sub roll, is it a cheesesteak?
No.
Tim?
It's a cheesesteak in the form of whatever it is. So it's not like, for example, there are certain restaurants that do cheesesteak egg rolls, where it's all the ingredients of the cheesesteak, but it's in an egg roll. I'm not calling that a cheesesteak. I'm calling them cheesesteak egg rolls, like cheesesteak pizza. A cheesesteak is the ingredients on the long roll. And then like it changes based on what it is. Like if you put it on a bagel, it's still a sandwich, but it's like, then it's a steak and cheese on a bagel. Yeah. Or like, I would call it like a Philly cheese bagel or something like that, but I wouldn't call it like a cheese steak, because you have the visual when you say cheesesteak, you have the visual of the long roll, the meat, the cheese, the onion. And like, even if you like pick and parcel things off of that, like if you don't like onions or you don't want cheese, or even like if you're like differentiating between whiz or without, like
if you have a different cheese versus like over cheese.
Yeah. Like,
yeah, I mean, I think it has to have those basic ingredients. You know, I'll always put onions on. If people don't or can't eat onions, then that's one thing.
Yeah.
But if someone's like, hey, Matt, do you want a cheesesteak? And I say yes, and then they give it to me in a tortilla, I'm going to say this is a wrap, not a cheesesteak.
But it's like a cheesesteak wrap. Like,
right. But if they're not specifying the wrap part of it, I'm assuming I'm getting the long bread.
Right.
So I think it has to have those. And I mean, from those, as long as it has the meat and the cheese and the roll, for me, it's a cheesesteak. You can add toppings to it. I think when you get into condiments, that's when it kind of gets away from it. But I mean, if you're putting like grilled peppers, grilled onions, grilled mushrooms in your cheesesteak, I would still consider that. But once you start putting like mayo, ketchup, stuff like that, then we're getting away.
So like a cheesesteak hoagie, like these, or like a California cheesesteak. I mean, that like that is a form.
And at that point, I'm calling it a hoagie. I'm like, with it, even with like certain toppings too. Like I think beyond grilled vegetables, if you're putting shredded lettuce or tomatoes, then you're not eating a cheesesteak anymore.
So what about cheesesteaks with sauce?
It's tough.
Because
it's more like a pizza steak.
Tomato sauce is just fancy ketchup. And you said if you start putting ketchup on it, it takes it away. So hot, fancy ketchup, where does that stand?
I wouldn't consider that just because it's kind of like Jim said, it's more of like a pizza steak.
Or like an Italian cheesesteak. Gabagool.
Okay.
Gravy, by the way.
Intern Mark, your thoughts?
I'll tell you what, there's a pizza place right here, not very far from me, that makes the best cheesesteaks. And they don't put it in that traditional roll. They put it in this bread they bake fresh. They kind of almost cut a hole in it and fill it. And it's amazing. So, yeah, I don't know if the vessel is as important just because of that, because that roll kind of thing they put it in. I don't even know how to describe it. It's almost like a pocket of bread. And it's amazing.
Is it almost like a bread bowl like you would get soup in?
No, it's more, I mean, you can pick this up and you eat it with your hands, like with a soup bowl you need.
Okay.
You don't always eat the bowl. But boy, I'll tell you.
Is it long? Is it long like a baguette, or is it like?
It's let me think here. No, it's not really long like a baguette. It's kind of.
What's the name of this joint?
It's P&J's. They have several pizza places around here. They have Sal's Pizza Place here in Elizabethtown. It's they're an Italian family, and the kids started branching off and making their own, having their own restaurants. I think they own 4 of them around here. But boy, they are delicious. I don't know if they'd have a picture of it on their website.
I'm looking.
Yeah, because I think like they had kind of like as the argument they tried to get out of the argument. I think they said like because there's a place in New Jersey that it was like it was featured on the Goldbergs, and they have their cheesesteak is served like on a Kaiser roll. So like I think they had kind of said like if it is on like a long roll or some form of like bakery roll, like you can kind of consider it cheesesteak, but if you start like going outside of it, and like for me, you know, again, my preferred method of cheesesteak is on the long roll, but like I still kind of look at the ingredients as like what makes it up. Like I'm not necessarily hung up on the vessel. Like, yeah, obviously if it's a cheesesteak egg roll, like it is an egg roll, not a sandwich.
I mean, by that account, like if someone said, "Hey Jim, do you want a cheesesteak?" and you said yes, please, and they gave you the steak, cheese, and onions on like 2 pieces of Wonder Bread, or like hamburger roll, you're not questioning that at all.
I mean, here's the deal. I would eat it. I'd be like, this is a strange choice of bread, but like, you know, in my mind, I'm still eating cheesesteak. Like if I'm not, I mean, I may not necessarily call it a cheesesteak, but I'm still eating cheesesteak. Three Count Thursday is sponsored by Arena Eats. Log on to the website arenaeats.app. That's arenaeats.app for the ultimate fan experience. At your favorite sports venue, Arena Eats mobile app, pre-order, express pickup, and in-seat delivery. How do you place your order?
I think what it boils down to is Philly taking the Philadelphia style cheesesteak and calling that a cheesesteak, as opposed, like, to me, like, now that it's all been like said and parted out, the Philly cheesesteak is long roll, condiments, that's like meat, cheese, onions, maybe peppers, that's it. But if I were to get the exact same thing on like a hot dog bun, that's a cheesesteak sandwich. But it's not a Philly cheese.
Right.
Like,
and I think that's the thing, because obviously like most of them on the show are like from Philly. They all obviously live in Philly now. So like, yes, to me, if somebody says, do you want a Philly cheesesteak? And you don't serve it to me long roll whiz with onions, I'm going to be mad. But if you just like, you say, do you want cheesesteak? And you give it to me on some sort of sandwich bread, you give me like, then I'm not going to get like super hung up. But if you specify the word Philly, because like, I mean, you know, we watch like a lot of like diners, drive-ins, and dives and stuff, and like there's places in like Idaho that are serving a Philly cheesesteak, and it's like there's like mushrooms and peppers and they're all this like other weird shit that they put on it, and it's like on some weird like French bread. And I'm like, no, it's like you can call it a cheesesteak. Don't call it a Philly cheesesteak. Like stop trying to attach, because that's not what you're doing. You're changing what a Philly cheesesteak is.
It's almost the same conversation that like people in New York or Chicago, or I'm trying to think of the other pizza hub, but like
Detroit's kind of
what's a pizza,
right?
And like,
well, because they on the show they said like, is French bread pizza? I'm like, yes, it is. Like, so are like bagel pizzas or like,
but it's but again, like if I were to say I want pizza and somebody brings me a French bread pizza, I will deem it as an acceptable substitution. But when you say pizza, I'm thinking pizza pie. I'm thinking the whole pizza.
I'm thinking a round pizza or a Sicilian pizza.
Otherwise,
I'm like, thanks for the pizza boat, because that's what this is. But
Oh my God, the old Warwick High School pizza boats, man.
Just like a tomato pie isn't a pizza.
Well, correct. Yeah, that's something different. Now, tomato pie can be very delicious, but that is not a pizza.
You know, tomato pie was a learned taste, because the first time I ever had it, this actually ties to wrestling. So guys,
see, it always comes back.
So when I used to do commentary for Excellence, one of the cool things about Excellence was the owner, Edgar, the short-haired heir of Excellence. I don't know what he's doing now. I'm sure he's doing fine. Or not, I don't know. But anyway, he would provide food for all the workers every show. So sometimes it would be pizza, sometimes it would be like sandwiches and pretzels and chips and like bananas, and he'd have water and Gatorade for all the boys for the entire night. And like his wife would make homemade brownies, and they were a kick, and like some people wanted like whole trays themselves, and she'd do it, and it was dope. But one day I went and I see like these 2 or 3 big long boxes that look like pizza boxes coming into the arena in Sellersville. And I'm like, oh boy, we're having pizza. I'm so excited. And we have our meeting, and you know, Edgar does this thing, and hey guys, we're just gonna have a great show. And then he goes, all right, everybody go eat. And of course, being fat, and this is where I can lean on Big Jim. When you're fat and there's a free food line,
come on,
as a man of size, it is your responsibility to not be in the front of the line.
Yep.
But
I know exactly where you're at.
The line.
Yep.
Like you gotta count. You're counting like
all right, there's enough. Okay, so I don't want to look like a pig here.
I got a friend here in slot 7. I can cut.
I'm gonna stand with him. So I'm not
even say Indian skip anymore.
I didn't know that was
him and get behind him.
I'm gonna cut in line.
I'm gonna cut in line, but I'm gonna get behind the guy I cut.
Yeah.
So I'm technically cutting the guy in front.
Like, but, we were together. He's holding my spot.
He's holding my spot, and I slip him a 5 ski, and he gives it back.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
I'm like, this is pizza. This is dope. And I open it up, and it's a pizza with no cheese and no nothing. And I'm like, excuse me, this is not complete.
I'm sorry. This isn't. It's not okay.
This is an incompletion. We're second down. This is second down. I need cheese, at least on this. Maybe some Italian meats cut in small circles on this thing. Maybe if I were Ryan, I would want something else on my pizza.
I'm a sausage guy.
But if anything else, like I need something else. And they were like, oh, it's a tomato pie. I'm like, what's a tomato pie? They're like, eat it. And then I ate like 4 slices.
Yeah, I mean, here's it. I've had good tomato pie. I've also had bad tomato pie. And if you get into a bad tomato pie situation,
tomato pie can go south quick if it's not made.
I think it deals with like the temperature of the tomato pie.
I think it also depends on the sauce, because we had friends of ours had a party one time, and they had gotten tomato pies. I don't know, from the restaurant somewhere in Lancaster County, and it was the first time I ever had it. I was like, I'm gonna give this a shot. Took a bite. I'm like, wow, this is really good. So then we were at Giant, the grocery store, and they had these fresh tomato pies that like were made in their bakery. I was like, well, that looks pretty darn good. We get it. We take it home. We bake it up. We go to, and it was tasteless. It was freaking disgusting. And I'm like, I can't eat this. I literally can't even eat this. We threw it out. We got pizza.
Yeah, tomato pie, not pizza.
It's not pizza.
A Philly steak in any other form than the long roll with meat and cheese and onion
is not a Philly steak. All right.
Not a Philly steak.
All right. Well, we came to agreement on that one, I think. Three Count Thursday is sponsored by Arena Eats. Log on to the website arenaeats.app, that's arenaeats.app, for the ultimate fan experience. At your favorite sports venue, Arena Eats mobile app, pre-order, express pickup, and in-seat delivery. How do you place your order?